What's going on, everybody? Are you an inferior investor by social media standards? I want to talk about that today. I also want to talk generally about what I look for the dividend funds that I get into. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right. Social media is such a funny place. People have this mentality if you don't buy what they think you should buy, you are an inferior investor. They think that their opinion is so important that regardless if you're not doing what they do, you're doing it wrong. And I'm here to tell you they're full of crap. Okay, let me start here. My account has taken a huge pendulum swing from last year at this date to where we're at now. Last year, up until late summer, I was really highly allocated towards high yield funds. My account was like 90% high yield funds up until late last summer. Okay, and they performed really well by and large. Like Nvidia was amazing, YMAG, AMZ, Nefli. I mean, list goes on and on. But the market was ripping, right? So there's many funds, and not just high yield funds, but many funds in general that were doing absolutely fantastic last year. And people didn't like yield max. There's a lot of people that didn't like yield max, and they probably considered people that bought yield max inferior investors. And I'm glad I didn't listen to them last year because it was so brilliant for me and it worked out really well. However, I started seeing some things in a market that made me personally uncomfortable. Market, as an example, market was just ripping with no meaningful pullback. That makes me nervous when I see things like that. Yield max funds, even though the market was ripping, even if there's a minor pullback, like a red day or two, they would have a hard time at times catching share price appreciation, and the dividends were starting to decline over time. Not all yield max funds, but most of them were. So that started making me uncomfortable as far as a long term plan for my account. Okay. Now, once I started selling off yield max funds and keeping all the distributions in my savings account, I started making videos about that. And then I think high yield investors probably thought that because I'm not in high yield funds or to the level that I was and I was getting rid of them, that maybe I was an inferior investor in their eyes. And it's just such a weird dynamic on social media that you have to follow what someone else does, even though they don't pay your bills, even though they don't have your exact plan, goals, objectives that you may have for your account. It doesn't matter because what they're doing is right. Well, then during the crash, I started buying things like SPY and JebQ as opposed to yield max funds. And the reason I did that was so I could get, hopefully, when the market rebounded, whenever that would happen. I had no idea it would rip up so fast, so hard, but the goal was to buy SPY and JebQ so I could get share price appreciation in addition to distributions. And it worked out well. That's indeed what happened. And SPY currently is well above my cost basis. I sold JebQ to get into QQQY, but JebQ was the same thing. It was going up, so it was above my cost basis, and I was getting those distributions. So it worked out for me. And I didn't listen to the people that thought that was a bad move to get into safer, reliable funds and quit chasing the high yield. Okay? So it just goes to show you that it doesn't matter what side people fall on, they're only going to have their opinions, and it's not really going to be relevant to you and what your goals and plans are. So I encourage you, if you listen to people on social media, try not to make your investments based upon them. Look at the numbers, look at the charts, look at, return history and all of that. So for me, what I look for, and before I tell you what I look for and just kind of how I analyze the stuff I get into, I didn't listen to the yield max haters as the market was ripping last year. And I didn't listen to the people that, love yield max and don't think I should have bought safer, reliable funds for my account, right? And I didn't listen to either one of them, and thank goodness I didn't. So what I look for, just generally speaking, okay, number one, total returns have to be there for me. The total returns have to be solid. And I want to compare the funds I'm interested in to dividend funds that are similar to them, right? And I want to see which ones are better or worse or whatever. So for me, total returns are super important. Next, are the dividends increasing over time? The distributions, dividends, whatever. Are they increasing over time or are they dropping over time? I need things for our lifestyle here and to be stable and some kind of rising distribution with it over time. And so that's important to me. So I look at that. Another thing I look at is the share price also rising with the market, or is the share price dropping while the market's rising? Even though all covered call funds are totally different, like the yield max ones are super aggressive, right? And so most of them tend to drop over time, and the dividends drop over time. And I think that's fine to build an account or whatever, and it worked out for me. But now that I got my account to where I want it to be, it's all about holding and playing defense and preserving my capital, right? Just for me, everyone's different. But I look for dividends that increase over time and share price that moves pretty much along with the market. Here's another thing. I'm not really heavy into any individual companies anymore. Anything I buy that's going to be a main piece in my investment portfolio has to be market related, whether that's S&P or the NASDAQ or even Dow, any of those. For me to feel comfortable, I need it in something market related, which is why things like SPY just really suit me. It may not suit you. SPY may not. The distributions may not be enough to make you happy, right? Maybe the growth isn't enough to make you happy, but it doesn't matter. It's what works for me. And so SPY has just been wonderful for me, and I think it's proven itself since it's been out. It's such a reliable fund, and I just absolutely love it. And so market related, rising distributions over time, rising share price along with the market, and market related funds. Those are in total return. And that's what I base my decisions on, not on what some random on social media tells me I should buy. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you later.